And can you guys see my screen okay?
Yes.
Awesome. I love when technology works. Good afternoon, everyone. I think it's afternoon where everyone is for a pleasant change. I'm Jeffrey from Parker Dewey. Excited to be here with the WSU folks. We're going to kick this off in about 3 minutes. While we're waiting for that, if folks want to sort of introduce themselves in the chat, feel free. Um, Otherwise, we can do a quick survey of how much time people spend over the past 5 years waiting in Zoom rooms to populate. Actually, what I will do is while we are waiting for folks, I am going to see if I can figure out how to start a poll. Here we go. Cool, it's working. Can you guys see the poll?
Mhm.
Awesome. I love when technology works. So while we're waiting, if folks want to, again, either introduce themselves in the chat or really just answer these questions about employer engagement challenges. Sort of what challenges are you guys feeling as employers around campus recruiting? I see student awareness. I see reaching targeted talent, grow pipelines, DEI. Great. Don't be bashful. We're not keeping track of who says what. By the way, when we talk about DEI, we use that term very, very broadly. We're talking about individuals from all backgrounds, again, first gen, Pell eligible, veterans, adult learners. We are very, very big tent as we think about that. So student awareness, employer brand, not surprising at all. It's one of the things we'll cover today. It's been interesting to me to see how key brand is both for companies and organizations that are less well known, but even for those sort of organizations with very well known consumer brands, but where their brand almost causes students not to apply because they have preconceived notions. So I am showing 101 on the West Coast. Maya and Sandy, should we kick this off and should I end the poll?
Yeah, I think so, if everyone is ready.
Awesome.
Okay. Awesome. So thank you everyone for being here. My name is Maya Salisbury. I'm here with Sandy Robb as well. We both work for the Boylan College Career Services. Um, and we're super excited to have folks here and to learn a little bit more about Parker Dewey. I think something that we're really working on and our focus is to create these flexible opportunities for students. So with that said, I'll let Jeffrey sort of take it away, the expert here in all of this.
Wow, I'm an expert in something. I
An
love it. Thank
expert.
you for making me feel good, Maya. It's really, really good to be here today. And again, thanks so much to Maya and Sandy for hosting us. I mean, it's truly our privilege to count Washington State as sort of one of our 800 plus partner colleges and universities. So thank you. One thing I just want to make clear of, again, some housekeeping before we get started. First of all, this discussion is very much focused on employers and sort of what we're hearing from employers. If you're here from a college or university, please, again, feel free to join, but we host separate sessions for them. And we're very focused on helping employers make better decisions, real-time candidate engagement, building relationships with potential hires. Everything we're going to talk about today is intended to complement what you're doing around early career recruiting, not replace any of those things, but complement and enhance. So again, a couple housekeeping things. First, this will be recorded. So if you love hearing my voice, you'll be able to hear it as many times as you want. We'll be sharing the slides, links, all of that other fun stuff. In addition, feel free to use the chat. Use the chat to ask questions, use the chat to comment. I'm usually pretty good at keeping track of the chat along the way. So we'll try to answer things as we go through. And if not, we'll certainly leave time at the end. So today we're going to talk about three big things: an overview of experiential learning and micro internships. Second is why this works. And third is how to introduce this into your organizations. So just a real quick background on Parker Dewey and who we are before we get into it. We've been around for almost a decade. Since our founding in 2016, we've been 100% focused on creating real experiential recruiting opportunities for employers to engage prospective candidates and used a skills-first hiring framework to see them in action. What's great about this is this whole platform, this whole process captures a ton of data that can really be used to help improve your early career recruiting and can't be found anywhere else. Data that helps those involved in campus recruiting to engage candidates aligned to your roles and to be able to see how interested they are in your organization and the roles. Data that helps you get insights on skills that we know are key for great hires, things like communication, problem solving, grit, but they're often tough to determine through the traditional process. Data that aligns with the strategic goals of your organizations, not just what you're focused on from campus recruiting, but those areas that align to the goals of CHROs, business line leaders, and even CEOs and CFOs, those things they're focused on. And we do this in a way that directly benefits hiring managers, providing a ton of actionable insights for recruiting teams. And to be direct, is how candidates prefer to engage through these real hands-on opportunities. What it does is it addresses the challenges. Look, we know how difficult early career programs are. We hear things like traditional early career hiring is not working. 71% of college students say that the process doesn't let them fairly demonstrate the skills. Nearly half of them leave their first job within the first year. So think about how much time you're spending interviewing, recruiting, building those relationships, and huge percentages of them leave before they even hit their first year anniversary. Hiring managers also struggle to assess the skill and ability beyond the resume or beyond the interview. And the cost of getting it wrong is high, and it's rising. One of the things that's really ironic to me is that one-click job applications that were supposed to address both accessibility and costs have actually done the opposite. They've made the costs higher and have made the process more difficult as we get inundated with thousands of resumes because, again, one click. Employers are spending tremendous amounts of effort and time trying to guess which applicants actually have interest in their roles and which ones aren't AI, but that's a different conversation. And they're still struggling to drive interest from the candidates that best align to their needs. They get volume, but it's not necessarily the right folks. They're also spending time and resources on those candidates who don't stay and seeing increases in reneges and ghosts and everything else. And look, the stakes are higher than ever. Instead of hoping candidates stay, how can you assess fit earlier in the process? Instead of relying on static resumes, how can you evaluate them based upon real work? Well, we know the status quo is expensive and frustrating, but it doesn't need to be. Beyond looking at the traditional playbook, through what we're going to share, companies have candidates who are excited before those companies set foot on campus at Washington State for the career fair. They'll have candidates that want to come to the info session, even if they've never heard of the company before. They can reach first and second year students when those students are most hungry to explore career paths, learn about different companies, industries, roles, or reach those students who are perfect for those last minute job requests that we know come from hiring managers and others. Can reach those students who attend Washington State, but maybe from Chicago or Boston or San Francisco or Indianapolis, who want to return home when they graduate, helping you reach those students that align to your goals and your organization's hiring needs. What I also love is you can see data on the job readiness of students, not based upon GPA or academic selectivity or what their major happens to be, but based upon those actual skills, helping you demonstrate why the WSU students are perfect at your organization. Or for those organizations that aren't yet recruiting at Washington State, you'll be able to see firsthand why you should be. You're also getting insights on the actual interest by candidates. Again, these aren't single click applications. but you're able to see things like in this example, the consistent, thoughtful interest of students, showing you which ones are most likely to convert and stay and do it beforehand. And then it's not just interest, it's actual skills. This experiential recruiting process gives you those insights up front. Short answer responses give you insights similar to what you would find on the phone screen, helping you tease out those core skills like communication and attention to detail. And it doesn't stop there. You're getting real insights on their skills before the interview with actual feedback from hiring managers. This is the skills-based hiring that's so top of mind for CHROs and HR in general. So how do we do this? This is experiential recruiting. It's the intersection of skills-based hiring and employer branding. This helps organizations cut through the noise to reach those candidates aligned to their goals, while also providing the insights on skills to improve decision-making. And we're not just talking hire, don't hire decisions, but also those earlier stage decisions that usually rely on GPA or major. And in this economic climate, it also gives data not only to directly align to your work and support your work, but to highlight it and showcase it to other parts of the organization, highlighting why early career programs are so vital to the strategic success of companies, how it aligns to the initiatives around analytics or AI or the emerging roles, and the ability to present this data to executives and CFOs and business line leaders or department heads to demonstrate how you're helping them achieve their goals. So how do we do this all? Well, the key is micro-internships, these short-term projects. And as I said, we'll share the slides after, so I'm not going to go through the nuts and bolts of all of this. But in short, the key takeaway is these are short-term, bite-sized experiences that are both engaging to students, driving them to want to learn about your organization, and keeping them engaged once they're interested, and also allowing you to quickly see their skills in a way that's not captured from a resume. And you're able to see the skills before you invest a bunch of time. This is what feeds the platform I showed you and plugs right into the existing process you have without adding to your workload. And the key is that all of these bite-sized experiences are easy to use. But instead of it being hypothetical, I'll show you an example. One of the things we do with organizations is we'll see the entry-level entry-level role or summer internship, which you can see on the left, production operator. You can see sort of a couple things we pulled from the job description. Again, we pulled out all the filler, but these were the key components of the job description. Micro-internship that can be done is manufacturing best practices audition. So instead of trying to guess if someone's going to be a good production operator or hoping they're going to come by your career fair booth, give them an opportunity to do a study of best practices in safety and quality assurance in a specific manufacturing process. That's something that doesn't require you to onboard, doesn't require you to train, doesn't require sharing any sensitive info, and allows you to quickly analyze both the technical skills, but also things like critical thinking, attention to detail, problem solving. Again, some other examples, junior developer, again, highly technical role. Let's have them do research on AI to tease out things like, again, critical thinking or problem solving or technical writing. Even for those of you within HR, perfect opportunity to leverage this. We've all hired, again, summer interns and full-time hires who we think are going to be good, but may not be the right fit. Well, before we spend the time sort of onboarding and training and everything else, let's see if they can do work like vendor research or job description reviews, teasing out those things up front. And that's really key. I mean, to the skills-based hiring discussion, this is skills-based hiring in action. Every step of the way, you're getting insights on those skills, not just the technical skills, but those core skills. It's not a new step. It's not a new assessment you need to do. It's built right into the process. Unlike one-click job applications, you're getting a preview of grit and level of interest when they apply. Unlike the phone screen, you're seeing their communication skills in action when they're completing the project. Unlike the regular full interview, You're seeing problem solving and professionalism from actual work product. Which brings us to the second question. Why does this work? Why are students willing to do this? Well, it's pretty simple. By listening to the students, employers can spend less time and effort trying to figure out how to convince them to show up, how to encourage them to apply. We do an annual survey of hundreds of thousands of college students and recent grads across the US. And the reason this works is 95% of those career launchers say this is how they want to be recruited. These real experiences are how they want to learn about companies. It's how they want to build relationships. It's how they want to demonstrate their skills. But it also allows you to respond to that. Again, it allows you to introduce your organization to a first or second year student when they're most interested in learning about the organization. In fact, 75% said during their first 2 years, this is when they're excited to learn about a company, as opposed to trying to convince someone who's a junior or senior who thinks they have a career path to change their mind. And unlike telling that sophomore who visits your career fair booth, hey, apply to our summer internship next year or come to an info session, you can use these projects to keep them engaged along the way, giving you a competitive advantage and allowing you to see their skills earlier in the process, both improving your ability to convert and lowering the chance of renegs. One thing I also want to hit on, I sort of glossed over it before, is these are paid experiences. These are not unpaid simulations or things couched as skill building. These are paid. And to be clear, when we talk about paid, the average micro internship is a couple $100, again, which is going into the pockets of the students. That's less than 20% of the average cost per hire and a fraction of what the cost is of a summer intern or a full-time hire, especially if it turns out to be the wrong hire. The reason these are paid is a couple of things. First of all, I'm not going to reiterate the NACE data around unpaid internships. I'm sure we've all seen it, but I do want to highlight that these are paid to ensure all students have access. It ensures that the student isn't forced to give up a part-time role or income from a part-time role that they use to eat or pay for books or rent so they can participate. It also gives the student some skin in the game. Again, makes it real for them and builds a great network of ambassadors who are back on campus talking about the wonderful experience they had with your organization. And it's not just about engaging the students, it's about engaging the employers. The reason we built this is to give you the power to support your recruiting goals, whether it's around accessing students, not just the breadth, but the students that are best aligned to your organization's goals, whether it's around geography, whether it's around driving more veterans into your organizations, whether it's around specific skills, whether it's around assessing skills. One of the things I get excited about is over 90% of students who complete these projects exceed expectations. And when you're hiring, they stick around. As I said before, over 98% of individuals who get recruited through experiential recruiting platforms and micro internships stay at the company at least 1 year. Now, I still get frustrated about that last 2%, but compared to that 45, 50% first year job turnover, feels pretty good. This helps you drive success with fewer resources. So how do you actually put this into action? Well, it fits anywhere into the campus recruiting strategies of organizations. Yeah, first example, think about a role you know is going to be open next year. Are you always hiring for engineering students that might be interested in business development but haven't yet thought about it, like medical device company Smith & Nephew? Is the CHRO talking about the importance of having a pool of data analysts given some changes in your organization? Or is there a business leader who's always trying to find students interested in construction management? You can use this platform to get early access to those amazing Boylan students who are interested in construction management. You can also use it to assess skills. Again, think about the business line leader who still likes to hire from his or her alma mater, or sends frustrating notes to your team complaining about an interview with, why'd you make me interview this person? Well, now, before the interview, you can actually share work samples with that hiring manager in addition to the resume and get insights on the skills before you move someone to the next stage of your process. What about those students you met last year on campus at WSU who may not have joined your company because they were an underclassman or maybe pursued a different path? This is a great way to keep them engaged along the way. That way, when fall campus recruiting comes, you already can hit the ground running. And of course, we all have last minute needs that come up. Roles where a candidate reneged or ghosted, or that last minute job spec. This can solve it. You'll have a talent pipeline that's ready to go. It's not a stack of resumes, but with candidates who are actually interested in your role. They've invested time. You have insights that help you understand which are the ones we should spend more time on, and the data and the resources to support your organization and respond to what matters, both to you as you think about your metrics around conversion and retention, but also to those other teams. Now, given the great relationship we have with Washington State and the fact we're huge fans, I want to share that you have a pretty unique opportunity. You have access to the platform I showed you. Again, the dashboard with all of the insights through the end of the summer at no cost. We're making it available. You do need to pay for the individual micro-internships, the individual projects. The reason that we do that is that money is going to the students. Back to my earlier comment about pay, we want them paid for their work. But everything else through the end of the summer is free. Beyond sort of making it available, the math is compelling. So even with the payments to the students, even if you have 4 students do the exact same project as a way to engage and audition for the class of 2026 summer internships or a rotational program you know you're always going to be recruiting from, even with the payments to 4 students, even if only one turns out okay, you're still spending less than 20% of the NACE average, so an 80% plus discount. Plus, you've saved a bunch of time and have a great pool of candidates, not just from the 4 you select to do the project, but all of the others who are now engaged. And summer is a perfect time to do this, which is why we're making it available. Now, we know there's a ton of uncertainty around next year's hiring volumes. We also know there will be early career hiring at your organizations. So now's a great time because you can see this in action before the craziness of the fall recruiting season, with career fairs and info sessions and interview and the cat wrangling of scheduling interviews and everything else. So now when fall recruiting starts, you'll be starting the process already with a pool of candidates who are already engaged, with access to the data that can help with last minute planning, thinking about what clubs to engage, thinking about early career programs at your organizations, building and deepening relationships with career services and faculties and students can help you get those actionable insights, not based upon anecdotes, but based upon data. So with that, I'm going to take a breath and pause. I'm going to share some getting started next steps. Again, if you're interested in taking advantage of the trial, you can use the QR code, send us a job description. We'll make specific recommendations. We're also happy to meet with you to see how we can help. I'm going to see if you have any questions. And then if you want, I'm happy to show you the process of actually posting one of these micro internships. It's pretty simple. Any questions from the audience, please use the chat. Any comments from our friends at Washington State?
We would love to get all of our employer contacts engaged in micro-internships. I think this is a really valuable tool, both for the students side of things, the students getting some practical experience, as well as you mentioned, Jeffrey, the employers, the benefit to the employers of sort of pre-screening students for roles later on down the road. I encourage you to do this if you're interested, and Maya and I are here to answer questions as well if you have questions of us.
Yeah, no, and again, we're huge fans, which is why we wanted to make the platform available for free over the summer. Again, students still need to be paid by the companies. It all flows through us, as I sort of glossed over. We're the employer of record, so there's no administrative or HR burdens. There's no temp to perm. There's no conversion fee. It's really, really simple, and we're happy to walk through all of that. And to your point, it's pre-screening. I love that term. It's also about the engagement. One of the comments that came up in the poll we saw was, how do I target specific students? How do I help the student realize that there's great data analytics roles or technology or AI roles at a manufacturing company, or maybe I'm a well-known brand and students aren't thinking about us. They know Nike, but they don't realize there's great roles, not just in marketing, but in finance or strategy, or that company that recruits at your school that may be from a different geography.
As we see that a lot with students that are going, well, there's no jobs for me. There's no companies here for me. And I'm like, you have to dig deeper. Most of these companies do have jobs for you. You just have to be thinking more globally about what the opportunities are. And this is a great way to get that brand out and that information out to students.
100%, 100%. And again, going through thousands of job postings on whatever site and trying to guess is difficult. One of the things a college student said to me, and it was less creepy when she did versus a 50-year-old married guy, is think about the micro-internship like going on a date, where the summer internship is getting engaged, the full-time role is getting married. A lot of students may have preconceived notions about who they want to get engaged to or get married to, but gosh, if it's just a date, yeah, let me go try that company I never heard of. Let me try that industry. And they realize it is the right fit. I will show you just real quick how the platform all works. So again, you get this data on the candidate intelligence platform dashboard, which is, I think, pretty amazing. But even the process of posting projects is simple. Now, we're there every step of the way, from the QR code on the prior slide. If you send us a job spec for an entry-level role or internship, we're happy to do this all. But let's say you want to do it yourself. Again, really simple. Post your project, pick who you want, the work gets done. So posting the project, we have a bunch of templates. It makes it real easy. A lot of them are actually aligned to some of the most common entry-level roles. Basically, what needs to get done, what's the deadline, and any other details. So are you posting this project specifically for students from the class of 2027 who have interest in being in Austin, Texas upon graduation? No problem. Just say it when you post. Or do you want this open to everyone? Do you want to look beyond just the finance student and provide a path for that engineering student into your organization? Great. It's up to you. Once the project is posted, the students apply, and you can pick who you want. Again, you'll only see those candidates who have proactively raised their hand and expressed interest. So you're not trying to guess who's actually interested in your organization. You're not blasting emails to a bunch of students hoping some are going to respond. These are students who have some real skin in the game. And again, it's shocking to me how incredible a short answer question or two is, both in putting some skin in the game with the students, making sure they're not click, click, click applying, but also giving you insights into their skills that may not be captured on the resume. Now, Sandy and Maya, I'm sure, do a wonderful job helping students make their resumes perfect, making sure there's no typos, and the entire teams are amazing at that. But the unintended consequences, as an employer, sometimes it's hard to realize how strong someone's communication skills are, if they have attention to detail. These short answer questions tease it out. And by the way, one of the reasons we're such huge fans of Washington State is that all of that data is actually seen by the university as well. So they can coach and support their students and make sure that their students are coming out best prepared. So again, you select the student, the work gets done, and that's it. Really simple. Again, we typically like to have a kickoff conversation between the student and the company. It's a great way to build a relationship. Students are using the resources they have and they're inherently motivated. We have an entire team behind the scenes providing support. And when the project's completed, leave some feedback. It takes about a minute. Again, we want this design to provide valuable insights, but also to provide. I can't talk. I was reading the chat for a second. My ADD didn't fully kick in. It provides valuable insights for them, but we didn't want it to be such a heavy lift that people weren't going to fill out. So again, things like communication, timeliness, attention to detail. And again, This helps you. It helps you connect with the talent. It helps you experience their skills and get feedback and insights along the way. To the question that was asked in the chat, you mentioned examples of types of projects these students can work on. Can we forward that? Yes, we are happy to. What you can also do, and let me go back for a second. If you want, you can also use this QR code at the top, and you won't be committed to a trial or anything. But if you use that QR code, there's actually a box where you can just drop in a job description, whether it's a link to an existing job description you have or a cut and paste or whatever's easiest. And we can actually give you very, very, very specific examples. Like that slide I showed earlier in the presentation. We've been doing this for almost a decade. We're really good at unpacking these job specs into those specific experiences that are both compelling to drive interest by the students, but also give you those valuable insights. Look at this, I kept it under a half hour. I am proud of myself. Maya, Sandy, any other comments or questions or things I missed?
I think there's one in the chat here.
Yes, Mary, sorry, no worries. We will be sending, a video, we'll be sending the slides either later today or tomorrow. I don't know how fast Zoom is processing these days, but you'll definitely get those. And then also, again, feel free to use the QR code on the screen. Happy to schedule time. I mean, hopefully it came across over the past 30 minutes. I love this. This is like such a fun part of my role as the founder of Parker Dewey, getting to share this with employers. And I love working with employers actually crafting projects. Crafting the projects. And again, the truth is, having done this a while, we've kind of sort of seen it all. So we usually have a really, really good idea of the types of projects that both are valuable for the students and valuable for the employers. And that's key. Again, it's one of the reasons I get so excited about what we do. It's the reason our logo is a Venn diagram with 3 circles. It creates better outcomes for employers, helping them engage and assess. It creates better outcomes for the students, helping them find the right full-time role, a role that is best aligned to their skills and interests, a role they're not going to leave 3 months, 6 months, 12 months later, and aligns to the goals of the university, helping them support the students, but also deepen and build relationships with employers. And there's very few places where you have sort of this win-win-win. Any other questions or feedback, y'all? Guess not. Again, huge thank you to the folks at Washington State for this opportunity. It truly is an honor to partner and collaborate with you. We love doing this. And not sure, Maya and Sandy, if you have anything you wanna conclude with.
No, just thanking everyone for being here, and thank you, Jeffrey, for sharing all of this with us. I think it's really great opportunities for a lot of folks here. I don't know if Sandy, you have anything?
I was just going to say thank you again for coming, everybody. And if you do have questions and like to reach out to us about setting up a micro internship, please reach out. Maya or myself can help you.
And then I just dropped my direct email in the chat. I'm happy to help as well. Again, we're huge fans, and don't tell anyone. My oldest daughter, who's now a senior, is actually going to be checking out the school later.
Oh, good.
Oh,
Wonderful.
We try not to play favorites with schools, but it is on the short list.
Okay, well, she'll enjoy it here.
How can you not? It's gorgeous there. Well, thank you again so much. Have a wonderful rest of the day. This concludes the webinar. Again, we'll share slides, recording. Feel free to email me with any questions. And again, thank you so much to our friends at Washington State for this great opportunity to collaborate.
Thank you, Jeffrey.
Thank you.